Stone is not a good option in high pH soil, and also aluminum sulfate is not available, not recommended. Iron sulfate, the iron will get fixed very fast. Gypsum will need a lot of water to get actually dissolve it and get any effect in the soil. So it's really hard to get any effect from it. Sulfuric acid, to add 3 tons, you already have destroyed the soil and soil structure and everything. Sulfur is probably the best option, but not always. Well, this picture showing a control and treated sulfur. As you can see, control is having much better growth than 2 tons of sulfur. This is an oxidizable sulfur. Once sulfur is oxidized, results change it tremendously, because then there is a result. Soil amendments for increasing CSE. Another option for actually improving soil conditions is to increase the cation exchange capacity, which make the amount of sodium there, having less hazard on the soil. And here, most of farmers would apply organic matter like rice hulls, sawdust, sugar factory waste, compost, organic acids, and humic acids. Also, some small nurseries apply coal, and there is very famous products. There's actually a series of many companies do it, of liquid calcium with organic acids that have some limited effect on ESB. It's normally ended with sal. It's calcium carboxylate products. Well, if we actually, these products, yes, increase CSE, like if you say humic acid, well, it's the best option for increasing CSE, but in Sahara, by end of season, this material would actually burn, leaving salts behind. It's not, a permanent increase of CSE. Then you would have to wash the salt out, and you have to find how you're going to get rid of the salt. So probably every season you're starting from 0 point in fertility problems with cation exchange capacity. For liquid calcium carboxylate, it has limited effect by increasing actually the CSE, but it doesn't stay for long as well. Calcium would help a little bit around root zone. Also, again, it's not a permanent solution. Multipurpose Advanced Soil Amendments, which reduces actually the TDS in the soil, the EC, reduces soil pH, reduces ESB, decreases RST effect, increases cation exchange capacity, improves soil structure, and it's commercially and scientifically known as Nile Fertile or sulfur fertilizer mixture. This is how the product looks like, the favorite fertilizer for soil amendments for treating Sahara soil. Nile Fertile, the key success in cultivated lands. A natural biomineral controlled release soil amendment and fertilizer for optimum soil fertility in clean agriculture. Provide soils with water absorbance and neutralizers. Provide soil and plant with macronutrients, micronutrients, beneficial elements, and mineral supplements. Control soil alkalinity and salinity in root zone with high buffering capacity. Improves the efficacy of saline water irrigation. Optimize the use of efficacy of chemical fertilizers and cover plant needs of phosphorus. Realize soil nutrients balance and ensure sustainability sustainable availability and uptake of plants throughout the season. Improve soil structure and enhance air-water balance. Proper soil, prepare proper seed bed and seedling bed. Reduce the chance of soil surface crust. Increase sandy soil capacity of water holding and also nutrient holding. Improves plant physiological and biological activities, germination time, formation of strong roots and shoots, activate the flowering buds, strengthening fruit set, early maturity also, and yield quality. limits plant fungal disease, nematodes, and wilting. Effect of non-fertile application on salt accumulation and yield of relatively salt-tolerant crops of ras cedr and Sinai. Well, actually, the irrigation water salinity is 9.3 dcSiemen per meter. As we can see here, the application of non-fertile in the first line in the table showed the EC initial EC in the soil, and at harvest, the difference between EC when non-fertile was applied and normal practice of NPK. Very clear in all treatments that non-fertile have kept the soil EC at much lower number than NPK. Also, yield per ton have increased and doubled in barley, wheat, beets, and onions. Control of salt accumulation in soil by non-fertile application was a permanent cause of the plant growth promotion. This is several, use of non-fertile in several areas of the world and in Egypt, and several crops like the citrus, grapes, pears, peanuts, beans, wheat. Fertilizers and fertilization. Selection of fertilizers and supplements, biostimulants, and fertilization program. Phosphorus or phosphate fertilizer problems in Sahara. The quick retention of almost all soluble phosphate fertilizers in soils is considered a global problem. Only at time of application, great differences between water-soluble and non-soluble sources of phosphate do appear. However, soon after application, most or even all forms of water-soluble phosphate are retained in soils in highly mobile or even immobile forms and unavailable to plant. In a short time after being added to soil, such existing differences among phosphate fertilizers count little. Phosphate fertilizer problems. Thus, such phosphate compounds are of low efficacy, even though they considerably increase phosphate in surface soil. So increasing phosphate, that doesn't mean the plant can absorb it. Treating sandy soil of Sahara region with bentonite clay, silt, or humic substances increased water retention and also increased interchangeable calcium on the account of free calcium in soil solution. Water-soluble calcium precipitate directly with added phosphorus fertilizers, while exchangeable calcium or double layer site of clay particles, humic acids and organic acid release easily to get absorbed by roots. Well, in Egyptian rock phosphate, actually in certain mines in Egypt, proved to be very efficient for direct soil application as a phosphate fertilizer and are not susceptible to fixation or leaching. It works as a safe store that provides plants with their daily needs of phosphate all year round. Synergetic effect between phosphorus and sulfur in soil plant system proved to increase the efficiency of each other for the benefit of plants. This is the effect of sulfur and phosphorus treatment on the phosphorus distribution in soils and phosphate in plant. Well, if we can check the first one, the green line is actually representing the phosphorus content in corn plants, and the red one is representing surface soil samples, and the blue one is representing the rhizosphere. If you check the different combination, when you have zero sulfur and only phosphorus, most of the phosphate are retained in the surface. Also, when we still in the second column, we double the amount of phosphorus with no sulfur. Yes, phosphate increased in the soil surface, but stayed, very low in rhizosphere zone. When we start adding sulfur in the third set of columns, then the phosphate and rhizosphere increased. And when we went to acrite phosphorus, which is an isotech product, yes, you can see the maximum availability of phosphorus in the root zone, which is most important for us. Phosphorus fertilizer problem in Sahara. In liquid fertilizers, when potassium is absorbed by plants, hydrogen iron are released from plant roots and consequently activate phosphorus absorption, especially when humic acids are present in the media, like ESA-PK+. Synergetic effect of phosphorus and sulfur on their concentration in root zone. As we can see here, the phosphorus and sulfur make availability of both phosphorus and sulfur much better than each of them by itself. On the other hand, about 90% of soluble phosphate are fixed in soils away from active root zone. Only their movement to the rhizosphere are activated with non-fertile or acrite phosphate is added. Nutrients mobility in rhizosphere. Field experiments were conducted in a sandy calcareous soil to evaluate the effect of sulfur and non-fertile on nutrients movement toward roots and on yield of beans and corn. Soil samplers were taken from surface soil, non-rhizosphere, and rhizosphere soil sticking to the roots. Phosphorus, iron, and zinc were determined in the soil and plant samples. Besides, the yield values of crops were determined. As we can see, the locations of samples, because we're going to show result in the next slide. Number one, the surface application. Number two, non-rhizosphere zone. Number three, the rhizosphere zone. And here is a comparison between results in all of them, comparing control, sulfur, and non-fertile and farmyard manure. And we found that non-fertile was able to drive the highest values of phosphorus, iron, and zinc towards rhizosphere, even through farmyard manure has proved the highest values of the soil surface. Nitrogen fertilizers fate in Sahara soil. Several nitrogen forms which differ in their behavior and their fate in soils and plants are as follows. Such forms of nitrogen, ammonical nitrogen, nitrate nitrogen, amide nitrogen, and amine nitrogen are subject to different means of losses. Most of nitrogen is actually lost by volatilization or leaching when soil pH increases. Loss of nitrogen from each form has its own effect on plant growth and yield. Nitrate nitrogen is most needed during the green growth stage, but when added during other stages, seedling, flowering, maturity, great losses by leaching would occur. Ammonical nitrogen is needed during flowering and maturity, otherwise it will be volatilized or transformed in the soil to nitrate within 2 weeks, sometimes much shorter. Urea requires upon 1 month for transformation to nitrate, for full transformation. but it can actually transform much faster to nitrate before absorbed by plant. When the farmer managed to dive soluble fertilizer into the capillary pores, or to let it stick on colloidal surfaces, it will be retained in soil till the end of the growing season. The favorite nitrogen fertilizer of Sahara, Micronutrients, contains all forms of nitrogen in balanced concentration and supply plants with their nitrogen needs all the growing season. It also increases absorption sites on colloids. Degree of freedom of potassium in the soil-water balance